differences between the overseas market or the what we call the external the foreign markets, then exporting will be a very, very positive strategy for the company. And but one of the major disadvantage with exporting is many countries could be hostile towards these exports in terms of lot of imposing lot of customs duties and other types of ban on these exports. So if such a situation happens, the profit margin for the company may reduce to a greater extent. Especially the host countries will take up such a strategies to protect the local producers or to protect the manufacturers that are there within the domestic borders of their country. However, exporting is the first step in the internationalization process, or when a company wants to go international, this is the first safest strategy to take up without much extra investment to happen. Now let us see the next strategy, that is licensing and franchising. Even in this case of opting for licensing and franchising, the commitment from the side of the company will be as minimal as possible, because the company gives the license to a local manufacturer or a local company to produce or to use its trademark or some type of patent or a business policy or an administrative strategy or a technical know-how in the host country. And the licensee pays royalty to the licensor for utilizing these skills. So if we have two companies from two countries, if company one wants to enter into the overseas market, then we call the company one as the licensor and the company two as the licensee. That is, company one is giving permission in terms of usage of either a patent or a trademark or a marketing know-how or a technical know-how to the company two to utilize it in the host country and do the business in that particular country. And many a times, cross-licensing may also happen where company one exchange a technical know-how with the company two, and in return, instead of cash payment, company two will give access to company one for its marketing know-how or managerial know-how or any other patent or any other intellectual property. Here, let me give you an example. Bosch company of Germany has given the licensing to a company in India to produce IFB washing machines. So whatever IFB washing machines are produced in India, they are being produced under the license provided by the Bosch. Now, we have GE, General Electric, when it wanted to enter in India for HID fittings. It so happened that that particular sector was totally allowed for only small scale sectors. That is, it was only small scale companies were permitted to operate in that sector. So GE had to give license to a small scale sector. They have identified a small company in India and they gave the license to that sector, and also they shared the technical know-how with that particular company so that they produce the HID fittings for GE in India. Now, let us look at the franchising. So franchising is also a licensing agreement. Here, the parent company, that is the company one, will be called as a franchisor and the company two will be called as the franchisee. So the franchisor gives the right to do the business on behalf of it in the host country to company two, that is the franchisee, in the prescribed format. The one difference between licensing and franchising is more binding for the company two, that is franchisee, to operate in the standards and specifications being set up by the franchisee. The franchisee may sell the franchisor's products, may use the brand name, the production and marketing techniques, or the general business approach. Now, we have seen McDonald's, KFC, these are all franchisee operations. That is, franchisees are operating in our country, in India. Actually, they are not the Indian companies, either McDonald's or KFC. So that's a service franchising that is involved into it. Now here, another example I give to you, Coca-Cola has entered into franchisee relationships with bottling units across the world, especially in India. In Hyderabad also, we have a bottling unit, towards this ECIL area. And that bottling unit just carbonates the syrup that is supplied by the Coca-Cola. What I mean to say carbonation means it liquefies the whatever the syrup that is provided by the Coca-Cola. So basically, franchisor provides some part or some important component to the franchisee so that the franchisee does business in the host country in the prescribed format and the specifications provided by the franchisor. Now let us see the major forms of franchising. There's every possibility that the manufacturer, in manufacturer retailer systems, there are automobile dealerships, and these automobile dealers take franchisees from the manufacturer, and we call them as product franchising. Then we have manufacturer wholesaler systems like soft drink companies, what I explained to you about Coca-Cola just now. These are called as manufacturing franchising. While we have service firms like service retailer systems where either it is fast food services, lodging services, that is the hospitality industry, where the franchisor gives franchisee the permission to operate in the host country. So we call such a franchising to be the business format franchising. Excuse me. Another example I would like to quote here. We have ITC hotels who have an agreement with ITT Sheraton, and ITC hotels are managed by ITT Sheraton Corporation. Now let us see the next type of franchising, that is next type of entering into a overseas market, that is contract manufacturing. In contract manufacturing, a company wants to enter into a foreign market with minimal commitment. So that means the company will enter into a contract with with another company in the host country, and that particular company in the host country will manufacture the product. The marketing and other aspects of the product will be kept with the first company. For example, if we take Hindustan Unilever and Park Davis, you see the Pepsodent toothpaste, it is not manufactured by Hindustan Unilever, even though it belongs to them. It is manufactured by another company, and the marketing, the brand management and the marketing and distribution of the products is kept with the Hindustan Unilever company. So Hindustan Unilever and Park Davis are some of the multinationals that do contract manufacturing. Now, contract manufacturing is one of the safest forms of entering into a host country. I would once again remind you what is a host country and a home country. There is a company, and wherever that particular company has its corporate headquarters, we call it as the home country. And in whichever the markets the company wants to enter, All those markets are called as the host countries. In whichever countries those markets exist, they are called as the host countries. Now, the major advantages are, this is as I have expressed, it is less risky as the company need not invest or establish a manufacturing unit in the host country. At the same time, this facilitates the company to start the business right away. The company need not wait to construct a manufacturing unit or to develop a distribution network in that particular country. Because it has a contractual agreement with another company in the host country, the distribution of the products and the sale of the products in the host country can start right away. This facilitates the company to start its operations immediately without wasting time. The main disadvantage is whatever the profits that we are sharing, that is the company is sharing with the company into which they entered into contract, is lost by the local firm, is lost by the contract manufacturer. That is the one major disadvantage. Now let us see what is management contracting. If we take Tata Tea has got lot of plantations, that is tea plantations in Sri Lanka. Even though the tea transplantations or tea plantations are owned by Tata Tea in Sri Lanka, the management and the upkeep of those tea plantations are handed over to another company in Sri Lanka. So such type of getting into a contract where even though the company owns the certain aspects of the business, but giving the responsibility of running the business in a particular host country is what is called as the management contracting. Let us see what it is in detail. The supplier brings together a package of skills that will provide an integrated service to the client without incurring the risk and benefit of ownership. That means the company gives the responsibility of managing the business, running the business in the day-to-day affairs is handed over to a local partner, and that's what we call it as a management contracting. The advantages are certain skills, like it could be the technical skills or managerial skills that were previously unavailable with the company, can be taken over or can be acquired from this contract. Kotler, who is a very famous marketing guru, argues that this method of contracting is a low-risk method of entering into a foreign market, and immediately the company is able to yield income. The major disadvantage is at a particular point of time, if this contract is not positive, uh, the company may lose control over the overseas business. That is the first thing. Second thing is whatever the managerial skill that a company has, okay, so if that managerial skill or the technical skill being put for a different use rather than managing somebody else's business, might be will provide the company with more profits. So these are the two issues when two companies are getting into a management contract. Now, even though it is not a major strategy to enter a foreign or an overseas market, let us see what a turnkey operation is. Turnkey operation is an agreement by the seller where the seller promises to supply a full-fledged facility after developing the entire facility to such an extent that it is ready for commercialization. So this facility is equipped, all the processes and procedures are well established, the machinery is properly properly installed in its place, and the particular manufacturing unit or the particular business is ready for its commercialization. That means not only that, the the buyer's personnel will also be trained by the seller, and such operations, we call them as turnkey operations, especially when underdeveloped economies, or when a country is, or the companies within that particular country are not having the technological know-how. They will call up companies from very developed countries who have the technological know-how to establish the required facility, required manufacturing unit, and train their company personnel in operating that particular manufacturing unit, and then leave them to be independent to run their business themselves. For example, especially oil refineries, iron and steel manufacturing units could be some examples where such turnkey projects become compulsory. Many turnkey contracts may involve government or public sector as a buyer. Now, let us see the next strategy, that is direct investment. When a company wants to establish in a full-fledged mode in the overseas market, or wants to exist for a very long time period in the overseas market, this could happen for two reasons. The first being the company from its research identifies that there is a lot of demand for their product, and there's a lot of potential that exists in the foreign market. And to take the advantage of initial pioneer as far as the product or that particular business is concerned, they may plan to go in for direct investment. So we call them as foreign direct investment, FDIs. And this happens when a company invests in facilities to produce and or market a product in a foreign company. That is, the company in the host country invests in the manufacturing unit, setting up of manufacturing unit, setting up of distribution centers, warehouses, and might be planning for developing a well-established distribution network in that particular country. And when the company commits to plan and to implement all these things, we call such a strategy to be direct investment. And foreign direct investment is the most advanced market entry strategy, because with this strategy, the company would have invested lot of capital in the overseas market, and also the company might be expecting a lot of potential, that is lot of profits from that particular establishment or business in that country. And to define foreign direct investment, we can call it as an internationalization strategy, where the firm establishes a physical presence abroad through direct ownership of productive assets such as capital, technology, labor, land, plant, and equipment. Now let us see the major benefits of direct investment is there's always a transfer of resources and transfer of technology. So for host country, it is advantageous. At the same time, it is advantageous because lot of foreign investment is coming into that particular country, and that foreign investment is not volatile. It is not very, very liquid, because manufacturing units and warehouses and distribution centers are developed in the host country. And this also will give rise to lot of economic growth, and the standard of living of the people might increase because of, definitely when the products are manufactured in the country, they're available for lesser price. That is, MRP might be reduced. First thing, lot of employment opportunities are available for the local people because managerial know-how might come from the home country, but all the workforce cannot come from the home country. So these are some of the advantages of direct investment to the host country. But one major disadvantage or one major worry for direct investment in the minds of the host country is if the economic, that is the manufacturing sector or the service sector within that country is not well developed, then that particular company might get a monopoly status. That is one problem or one worry that a host country might look at. Now let us look at the benefits of direct investment to a home country. Yes, whatever the profits that are generated in the host country will go back to the home country. So it will reflect positive in the balance of payments of that home country, and there will be inward flow of revenue. And home country company also learns a lot of skill and technology and the way the products can be marketed in the foreign markets, which could be transferred back to the home country. Now, the next strategy is assembly operations. That is, the company plans to assemble certain products in the host country. The establishment of an assembly operation represents a cross between exporting and overseas manufacturing. That is, direct investment and exporting. So here they are trying to source, because assembling means we are assembly operations, that is spare parts are assembled for the final product to be made ready. The one example could be an automobile. The other example could be some consumer durables, which we always discuss about. It is ideal to a company to establish assembling operations in foreign markets when there is a possibility of economies of scale. That is, the infrastructure is well developed, the workforce is available for a cheaper salaries or for a cheaper price, cheaper rate. At the same time, when I talk about the infrastructure, that is land and all are available for much lesser price. And some countries might be giving some special, subsidies or special grants, because for foreign companies, they invite foreign companies to come into their place and establish an assembly operations in their areas. So in such circumstances, establishing an assembly operations, that is assembling plant in a host country, will definitely be advantageous. Now let us look at the next major strategy with which companies wants to enter into many overseas markets. These joint ventures not only are used as a strategy to enter into a new market, an overseas market, but also as a strategy for expansion in the business. So, any form of association which involves collaboration between two or more than two companies for a particular period of time is considered as a joint venture. Here, joint venture can function in reality in 4 different forms. One is sharing of ownership and management in an enterprise, licensing or franchising agreements, contract manufacturing, and management contracts. The below 3 we have already seen in the past. Now let us see how joint ventures happen with sharing of ownership and management between 2 or more enterprises. Let us take an example. PepsiCo India. It has a joint venture with Voltas and Punjab Agro Industries Corporations for its various operations for both distribution and production in India. Now, the major objectives of a joint venture are, the first one is to enter into a foreign market, or if required, into an emerging market. We have, if you have seen, many foreign companies, that is many MNCs, have tried to enter into India by these sorts of joint ventures. This joint venture, if two companies enter into, they are sharing the risk. So the risk gets reduced. There's an optimal utilization of resources, and there is a possibility to take the advantage of the economies of scale. And usually the joint venture happens in such a way that a company has got a brand in its hand, the other company has got distribution network. So it becomes easy if these two companies come together. That is, synergy effect happens when these two companies come together. There is a good, famous, identified brand in one's hand, while a well networked, well established distribution network in the other company. So this will result in a deadly combination, and they will be able to do good in that particular market. Now, what are the features of these joint ventures? As we have discussed, joint venture is an agreement between two or more than two companies to work together and share the business assets, operations, administration, and even the complete venture. So these two firms pool up the resources, pool up the technical know-how, managerial skill, whichever is good at, that will be sharing that particular skill, technical know-how and all, so that both of them together function as very successful company. Profits or losses are shared between the job partners in the joint venture, depending upon how they have come into an agreement. This getting into joint venture will give a chance to one company to get an access to the technology of the others, and also the managerial and other skills that are there. Once the purpose and the time frame of the venture is completed, then both the companies, the joint venture gets into dissolution. That is, it is dissolved. Now, as we have discussed, the major advantages: the production cost reduces because the company is taking the economies of scale, and the company can get access to technology and innovation and all. The major disadvantages are, as long as the venture progresses in a positive way, smooth way, it is good. But if there happens any type of clash, because these two companies are from different cultures, different climate within the organization, and there is an unequal sharing of resources and power, and many a times transfer pricing, necessarily in a joint venture, if these two companies belong to two different countries with two different currencies, then transfer pricing becomes very, very difficult, because as you all know, the uh, the rate at which dollar is traded against rupee, or the rupee is traded against euro or any of the other currencies, may change dynamically, hourly basis or on a day-to-day basis. That may create some differences. Now let us look at the next strategy, that is strategic alliances. So strategic alliances is when two or more businessmen or businesses, companies join together for a set period of time. And one of the example for strategic alliance is Tata Tea and Tetley in India. Strategic alliances are agreements between two or more independent companies to cooperate in the manufacturing, development, and sale of products and services or other business objectives. Now, the major goal into it, because of which the organizations are getting into a strategic alliance, are to leverage the capabilities that each company is good at, to increase the flow of innovation, to bring in agility into business. Agility means Being agile means being flexible. So agility into business means the response that business gives to the changes in the consumer patterns or consumer preferences is what agility is. Some consumer preference, how fast it is getting converted into a modification in the product or into a new product in the manufacturing unit is what agility means. Now, what are the reasons for getting into an alliance? Slow business cycle. So any business cycle is, I think you all know, there are ups and downs in every business. So if the business cycle is very, very slow, that is, there is hardly any increase in sales or any decrease in sales. So it becomes necessary for the company to search for new markets to scale up its revenue generation. And strategic alliance is one practical solution for that. And standard cycle of the business, the same reasons, fast cycle of the business. Because of these reasons, organizations get into strategic alliances. Now, the major disadvantages are these strategic alliances will bring in new skills and technology. They speed up the entry into a new market. They enhance the sales, that is, increase the sales. At the same time, if the alliance is not managed in a proper way, because after the strategic alliance also, still the two companies are independent companies. So if the because there is a poor management, because of poor communication or differences in the power and the sharing of resources, the business alliance may fail. And depending upon the certain issues, the legal issues might come up, because basically both companies coming from different countries, the law of the land could be different in both the countries. Now let us look at the mergers and acquisitions. Mergers and acquisitions can be used for both as a market entry strategy or a market expansion strategy also. Merger is referred when two companies are getting merged, where one new company will continue to exist. That is, two companies will merge into one new company, and whatever the two companies have got merged, they will not exist anymore. The new company only will exist. While the acquisition refers to the acquisition of assets by one company from another company, and after acquisition, still both companies may continue to exist. That is the major difference between the merger and acquisitions. Both these mergers and acquisitions could be in win-win situations or in hostile situations. Because of these mergers and acquisitions, the company gets an instant access to market and the distribution network in the foreign market. This also gives access to new technology or a patent. Now, the major problem after the merger or an acquisition is, whatever the acquired company is there, if it has some issues, the issues have to be solved by the company who acquires the other. Now, let us look at what is counter trade. Now, with world turning into a global village, the need for counter trade and the counter trade contracts are also really expanding. So counter trade is a form of international trade in which certain export and import transactions are directly linked with each other. That means if two companies get into counter trade, company 1 and company 2, company 1 sells some of its products to company 2, and the company 2 may provide only a part of the transaction as money. The remaining, company 2 may provide as products. Its products it may sell to the company 2. That is one kind of counter trade. Second kind of counter trade could be where a company tries to sell its products to another company with a promise that whatever the revenue the company is earning, that revenue will be spent in their country only. In the sense, if host country is there, so whatever the revenue that is generated, that particular MNC will spend that revenue in the host country. That means they will not take back the money to their home country. Fine. And another form of counter trade could be, so the first one is barter, that is goods, exchange of goods. That is, company 1 will sell goods, company 2 will buy them, and the worth of that goods, company 2 will send some other goods to company 1. That is a barter system. Buybacks. That is, the company 1 will buy a lot of raw materials or spare parts from company 2. They process it into the final products, and these final products will be bought back by the company 1. That is a buyback. Compensation deal is what I am talking about. I just spoken to you all. That is, company 1 sells some products to company 2, and whatever the revenue that the company 2 has to provide, only some part of the revenue is shared with company 1. The remaining part is given as goods, or the company 2 promises to spend that money in the home country of the company 2. That is compensation deal and counter purchase. Now let us get into this completes. With this we complete the first block. That is, we had tried to understand what is international marketing, why organizations are going international in the first unit. Second unit, we discussed about what are the environmental issues when organizations wants to enter into overseas markets. In third unit, we have discussed at length about what are the modes of entry into a overseas market or entry strategies. Now, in block 2, we are discussing about the international marketing mix. That is, how products are, what are the pricing strategies, what are the distribution strategies, and the others. Now, let us see. First, let us discuss about the international product planning and pricing. Now, let us look at what is a product. A product is anything. First, let us try to understand product from a very, very simple perspective. That is, a product is a good or a service or an experience. That is, it is anything that can be offered to a market for attention, acquisition, use, or consumption. That necessarily satisfies a want or a need of the potential customer. So this is how we can understand a product. Why we have to understand it in an international perspective is, when we talk about an international product, the international product has to satisfy the requirements, needs, and wants of people who are spread across geographically, people who are spread across continents, that is geographically, people who are spread across culturally, people who are spread across linguistically, and people who are spread across technologically, people who are spread across politically also. Because of these differences, it is not possible that one single product will satisfy the requirements, needs of all the overseas markets at a go. So, we need to understand it in different perspectives. So further, a product can also be defined as a collection of physical, psychological, service, and symbolic attributes that collectively give satisfaction or benefits to the user. Now, when we talk about a new product, we can understand it from three perspectives, because we are talking about international product. That is, a domestic company is already there. A domestic company has got a product in its domestic market. Now it is going international. So this product can be sold as it is in the international market. And whatever the product that is sold as it is in the international market, it could be just a copy of already existing products in the market. That is the third one, copy of the existing product. Then there is a new idea with the company, and hence the company wants to take advantage of the new idea to become a pioneer company, or to become an introductory company in the foreign markets, and hence it is trying to enter the foreign markets. Then this product becomes an innovative product in the foreign land. Then there is a possibility that the product in the domestic market has to be significantly modified to suit the environment, that is physical environment. It could be the natural forces in the host country, or because of the technological differences, or because of the linguistical differences, that is language differences, or because of the cultural differences, or because of the habitual or behavioral differences. Behavioral differences means we are looking at the occasions for which they are buying, the usage rate, the consumption patterns and all. So then we call that product to be a significantly modified product. That is, a new product can be any one of the following. Now, what are the major steps in the development of the new product? First, let us look at the idea generation. Where do ideas sprout up? Now, the marketing gurus argue that out of every 1 million ideas being produced, only one idea will come to the commercialization stage. So ideas can come from the customers, ideas can come from the salespeople, ideas can come from the distribution partners, that is intermediaries, ideas can come from the suppliers, or ideas can also come from the children. Okay. So the first stage is idea generation. Once ideas are generated, they have to be tested and screened for viability. Viability in terms of technical viability. For example, I close my eyes, and as a customer, I want a company to manufacture shoes where I close my eyes and think of an area, and I reach that particular area, which happens only in movies. That is, technically, it is not possible in the present technology that we have. So those ideas are not going to go to the next stage. Financial viabilities. For example, in one of the research by Videocon people, they have realized that, I think you know a washing machine. In washing machine, we put all the cloths in one cylinder. But there are certain clothes like our socks and other personal, textile attires, which people may want a separate compartment to be put up with. That is what from customer surveys that Videocon people have realized. But if it has to be implemented, that means a washing machine with two compartments being run at the same time may require a lot of increase in the price. That is, the MRP of that particular washing machine might increase. And that increased price, are the potential customers ready to pay? That is the financial viability. So, and there are safety viabilities. The product should be safe. Design viability, that is the product design should be proper. So idea screening, concept development and testing, and developing suitable marketing strategies will be the second stage. After that, the company does business analysis. That is, which markets will buy it? Who are the potential segments? How to target them? How to position those products in the minds of those customers? And where are the suppliers? Who are the intermediaries? What type of distribution strategy should be opted for? So all these are discussed in the business analysis. Then we get to the stage of product development, where the prototype of the product is developed, and then the product is produced in a limited scale so that test marketing happens. And let me tell you, in the modern times, Hyderabad, Vishakhapatnam, and Pune are said to be the test marketing cities, because these cities have a population which represents almost any place. A cosmopolitan type of population is available in these cities if we look at India as a perspective. Then comes the full scale commercialization of that particular product. These are the stages in the new product development. And when this new product is to be adopted, it may not happen instantly, especially in the overseas market. It may not happen instantly. For example, into our country, that is India, washing machines, microwave ovens have come, dishwashers have come at the same time. Television, washing machine, dishwashers, and microwave ovens were introduced simultaneously, almost at the same time. But washing machines and televisions were very successful from the day one. Even today, the dishwashers and the microwave ovens are struggling to enter into the household of the middle class Indian. For this, there could be many reasons. According to the diffusion theory of adoption, the below characteristics, decide the rate of adoption. First one is, what is the relative advantage of that particular product from the existing products? That is, if a company enters an overseas market with a product, what are the advantages? Amazon, when it entered into our country, that is India, they had to introduce cash on delivery. And that is the secret success mantra of Amazon in our country, basically. Then what is the compatibility? Compatibility of the products, the usage of the product, and the ideology of the product. Then trialability and divisibility. That means some products, by looking at them, we can assess the quality of the product, the premiumness of the product, or the reasonable price of the product. Some other products, it is very difficult to be assessed. And that also depends upon the adoption level. Then observability. Am I able to see these products in my neighborhood? Then only the product will be successful. Let me tell you the example of Walkmans. Of course, Walkmen are not so used nowadays. But when Sony introduced this Walkman, the product was a failure in the market. Then they tried with a strategy where they requested they shared this Walkman, or they gave the Walkman as a gift to many musicians across the world. And these musicians felt Walkman to be very comfortable, because you can put it as a headphone and then hear songs even when we are moving. And so they started wearing those Walkmans and they started going across. And you all know that when these musicians go across, the media, the press are behind them. And something new product they have seen with these musicians, and these singers they could be, or they could be instrument players and all, or they could be troops, which run these music troops. They were very happy to share to those media persons and to those press people that it's a Walkman and it is really easy for them. And this made, and in turn, these press people wrote about them in the newspapers. And Walkman was a success story later as far as Sony was concerned. And the complexity of the product. One of the reasons for microwave oven to take so much time to be successful in Indian market is the complexity of it. From the dishes to the way we make dishes, it is different. And the awareness is not made in various media at that particular point of time. then finally the price. Now, let us see the stages in the adoption process. We have a 5-step adoption process of a product to be when it is introduced into a new market. First, awareness stage where the consumer gets to know about the product. They get to, they get the information about the product. And this awareness will create interest in the minds of the potential customers. These potential customers seek information about that particular product. Once they generate interest, it will enter into the evaluation stage where the consumers considers trying the new product. This evaluation will motivate potential customers to try the product. That is why introductory offers are given by most of the companies when they enter into a new market. Consumer tries new products on a small scale. And once the potential consumer feels the product is good, they adopt the new product. Thank you, friends, for today. Let us continue in the next class. Have a great day, friends.